What's up, folks? This is Crypto with James talking to you today about the crypto news. Today is going to be a very, very interesting day, particularly with Visa and Mastercard shutting down services in Russia. So we want to check out what's happening with the ruble, what's happening with Bitcoin, and some interesting news coming out of Coinbase. Before I do all that, as always, I update the spreadsheet. Just the first 26 coins. I held 26 coins I spoke about on the channel. I thought would crush it in the cycle. If you invested $100 to each one when I release the videos, still holding up those bags, you'd be in profit for over 39 grand. These coins are not what I hold anymore. If you want to see the coins that I hold, you can come check out Copy My Crypto. It's where I share every coin I buy, every coin I sell, and how I'm navigating the markets in this sort of murky scenario that we're in, with rising inflation, rising energy bills, rising interest hikes, and an impending sort of, current conflict and possible war. So markets have probably never been as uncertain as they are right now in terms of crypto. So if you're unsure how to set up your portfolio or whatever, I go through exactly how I'm setting up my portfolio and what I'm preparing to do in case things turn bearish or bullish. So if you want to see what I'm doing, click the link in the description and check it out. Right. Bitcoin, obviously, Bitcoin had a bit of a downturn across sort of Friday. Saturday it held all right. Sunday was another downturn. Today it's on a sort of line of support. So how it closes today is going to be very, very interesting. If it closes below this line of support, there's a hell of a chance that we're going to see a greater downturn back to the sort of mid 37s and possibly high 36s, depending on how things start moving. But a breakdown below this would certainly look bearish right now. Now the ruble is continuing to trade down. On Friday it dropped 10%. Today so far it's down 4.6%, and there is a decent chance that is going to continue a downturn. I wouldn't be surprised if this hits 7 or 8% across the day, because obviously Visa and Mastercard are both suspending operations in Russia. This is a big deal. I know some Russian banks have already started transitioning to a sort of a Chinese payment system, but this is obviously going to have an impact economically. It's also going to have an impact because if you are a Russian utilizing Visa or Mastercard, your ability to buy crypto all of a sudden may have stopped. And we've obviously seen in the past sort of month some of the highest trading volume in history for the ruble and Bitcoin, because it's a more secure store of value than the ruble right now. So the removal of services here could have a wider impact on not just the ruble but on crypto. Now, obviously, the trading volume from Russia isn't close to the overall trading volume on a day. But it would be interesting to see what happens here, because we know from on-chain data that there is whales accumulating in both USDT and Bitcoin right now. Now, you accumulate in USDT with the anticipation of buying. So the wallet's addresses that have started accumulating has been staggering. It's been like an increase of 7%, about $1 billion across the last month in just USDT. There's about another 141,000 Bitcoin wallet addresses. So there's accumulation happening. Now, if these services then stop Russians purchasing crypto, we could end up seeing a spike in crypto purchases from Americas, and your America and your European areas. So I was going to say EU, but Britain's not in there. So we could see a spike today, but right now the charts, you got to agree, look bearish. And if this line of support can hold, we're going to bounce back up and hopefully retest the sort of $44,500 where there's stupid amounts of resistance. But yeah, a daily close below this line would be bearish, and I would expect that tomorrow we would see some pretty bad candle. So we'll see how today closes. But it's going to be a very interesting day. Very, very interesting, because there's so many things happening. Obviously, The situation in Russia and Ukraine continues to worsen. There's ceasefires that aren't being kept to, apparently. So there's a lot of things happening and bad turns in that news could have a wider impact on financial markets. We know that a lot of the markets have opened pretty badly. I think the FTSE 100 is down as well. I think that's down about 1.4%. It's rallied a bit since, to be fair. But yeah, at one point it was down 2%, which is quite dramatic. You know, FTSE actually closed down 4% on Friday. So we're seeing some really significant downturns in the wider stock markets as well, which would make me think that we'll probably be seeing gold and silver rising in value pretty well. Gold up 1.23%. Silver's probably going to be similar, 1.03%. So yeah, your store of values look like they're picking up steam. So it'd be interesting to see if Bitcoin is one of them today, because obviously there's fear across stock markets, left, right, center. So yeah, we'll see. Is Bitcoin really going to be considered a store of value? Is it going to go up in the same way silver is going up, gold is going up? Be very, very interesting. But the last piece of news is Coinbase. So Coinbase have proposed crypto tech to promote global sanctions compliance. So they've pointed out that laundering of fiat currency through traditional financial institutions remains the most sought after method for avoiding sanctions or evading sanctions. And we actually know that. Like, the amount of money that was laundered through banks was staggering. I think it was in the trillions over the past few years. So when you're looking at crypto and going, well, people can launder money. Yeah, talk to your banks, guys. But Paul Gruel wrote a blog on Coinbase saying, sanctions play a vital role in promoting national security and deterring unlawful aggression. Coinbase fully supports these efforts by government authorities. They are best placed to decide when, where, and how to apply them. So he points out that despite the sanctions put forth by government over the years, laundering of fiat through traditional financial institutions is the most sought after method. By transacting through shell companies, incorporating known tax havens, and leveraging opaque ownership structures, bad actors continue to use fiat currency to obscure the movements of funds. And we know this because there's a million one shell companies out there. The tax havens that we know about are very, well, they're just well known. We all remember the Panama Papers. So Brian Armstrong also came out and said, look, we've been seeing some of the questions and discussions around whether crypto can be used to avoid sanctions. But the key point he was making was every US company has to follow the law. It doesn't matter if your company handles gold, dollars, crypto, gold, real estate, or even non-financial assets. Sanctions laws apply to all US people and businesses. And crypto lawyer Jake Chavinsky also highlighted why it's impossible for governments to make use of crypto to evade sanctions. And Gruel acknowledged at the same time that it's virtually unobtainable amounts of digital assets. As a result, trying to obscure large transactions using open and transparent crypto technology will be far more difficult than the other established methods, your fiat, your art, your gold, your silver, whatever. And that's it. People have to remember, and all these governments have to remember, guys, it's an open ledger. You can track what's happening. You can see what's happening. So anyone that's going, well, crypto's used to evade the law, no more, less than the banks. Less than the banks. So we're going to see how this all plays out. The New York State Department of Financial Services announced the implementation of a blockchain-based tech to further enforce ongoing global sanctions. And you can read on this here, on this link. As Cointelegraph reported, the DFS plans to expedite the procurement of additional blockchain analytic technology to help identify Russian individuals and entities tied to DFS licensed virtual cryptocurrency businesses. So this is going to be really, really interesting to see how this plays out. But fundamentally, I think what we've seen is so many crypto execs come out and go, look, we can't blanket ban. So you've got to figure out what you want, because we'll apply sanctions to individuals and entities, but we're not applying it to a nation state. That's not reasonable. So crypto could come under more scrutiny, but their intent is right. The question is, how does a government try and implement sanctions via crypto? And the logical point is, guys, you can track wallets. You can track what's happening, and then removing the opportunity for individuals that have those wallets to utilize them. That's the key thing. So how that happens, God only knows. But we'll see. I guess we'll see. It's going to be like I say, it's going to be a really interesting day. Financial markets are looking unstable as hell. The fact that gold and silver are rising is usually a sign that we've got greater downturn on the S&P 500. S&P 500 and Bitcoin have certainly correlated, so you'd expect that we might see more downturn in Bitcoin as well. But if the narrative of Bitcoin is true, that it's a store of value, then we would expect that in a time like this, it should more closely correlate with gold in terms of gains. That would be the logic if that store of value thesis is true. So, yeah, it's going to be a very, very interesting day, and it will be quite illuminating to see how wider perspectives appear to view Bitcoin. Because if they're still taking a downturn and correlating with the S&P, then people aren't considering it a store of value in the same way that many of us think of it as a store of value. But yeah, interesting one generally. Anyway, that's it for me. Let's see how the day plays out. If you're new to crypto or been here a while and not sure how to set things up in this sort of time of uncertainty, come check out Copy My Crypto. It's where I share every coin that I buy, every coin that I sell. But on top of that is where I share how I'm setting up my portfolio right now in anticipation of either a very bearish run or a bullish run, because both need to be considered, and there are opportunities in the market when these things happen. So if you want to find out what I'm doing, click the link in the description and check it out, guys. Anyway, take it easy.